Hi all. In this session, we are going to discuss about JSP project. I will create one JSP project. In the yesterday session, we have discussed about the implicit objects and a scriptlet tag and expression tag and declaration tag, and we will use in this project. I will create a project using this all. Now we are going to create one registration form using JSP. So our registration form will have three fields. Those are username, password, and email ID. So those three field values we have to insert into database. So in this project, we are going to use the JSP and JDBC. So our project has to be the JSTL jar file as well as JSP. Now let us see how we will create the JSP project. So JSP project is a web dynamic project. So file, new, select the dynamic web project. Since it is a web project, we have to select the dynamic web project. Then the project name. The project name is registration form. Name is registration form. So there are many projects to be this stop. So we no more require this web.xml file. Just I will click on finish. Yes. Here there is a registration form. So when you expand here, we'll have a SRC folder inside the Java resource folder. Here we will write our Java classes, our bean class and DAO class, and here we have a lib folder. In this lib folder we have the JDBC jar for JDBC jar and JSTL jar, because this project in this going to use JDBC and JSP, so we require those two jar files. So the jar files are, we have jar files, content, lib folder. Inside this lib folder we have jar files. Just I'm copying these jar files, copying the jar files from other projects. So now I'm adding these jar files in this lib. So now this project will support JSP, JDBC and Sublet also. So very first I'm going to create one JSP page. So the JSP page will create on web content folder. Just click on, just select the web content folder and right click, new, JSP file. Just you change the JSP file name. The file name is index. So here we need to give the title. The title I'm giving is registration, and here inside the body I'm going to create a form. So have a form tag. So this form will have a action. Later we will give the action. So here we require three fields: username, email, and password. Username, just one field, let's say input type is text, and the name of this text is it's a username, so we can give uname. Line. So I need another fields. So this is email, email ID, and this is the so here change mail, and it is, and then we required one submit button. And value is register. So now I will run this project. As select the project, right click, and run server. Just finish. So the form is created as a username, email ID, and password. So here also run this on browser. Username, email ID, and password. And then need to do the form action. When you click on this register button, then if there is any action, then that action will perform. So as of now, there is no action here. We need to give the action. So we need to define another JSP. So through the JSP, these values has to insert into database. So if these three values has to insert into database, we must have a table in database with these three columns. So I'm going to create a table in database, please. So username, password, please. So the table, I need to create the table, create table, and the table name I'm giving as users. Users is my table name, and the columns name, the data type is varchar2, which is equivalent to the string, so it will allow up to 100 characters. And then email, uh, it's also varchar2 to 100 characters. Hello, 100 characters. And then click on run. So the table is created. Table is created with name user. So now start users. No data found. There is no data in this users. Just freshly we have created the table. Now I need to insert the data into this through through this form. So when I enter username, email ID, and password, these details has to insert into the users table. So for that, if the data has to travel from here to the JSP and JSP to DAO class. So we required one bean class. We required one bean class. What it contains the bean class? The bean class contains the variables and setter and getter methods. That is the object that will travel throughout the application as an object. So I need to create one bean class with three properties. Those are uname, email, and password. So I can create the bean class here, new class. So the package name is dot dot bean. Bean is my package name, and my class name is user info. User info is my class name. I have created one bean class. So what it contains is it contains variables. Those are, so it contains a variable. Those are you, you name. So these three properties it should have. these three properties. Uname is one property, and then need are the same. This it is passed. Yes, these are the three fields: uname, email, and password. Yeah. So, setters and getters methods. So for setter and getter, yes, you right click and then source. Here you can find the option generate getters and setters. You select the generate getters and setters and then click on select all. It will select all these and then click OK. All setter and getter methods are. Why these setter and getter methods? So when to set the value for these variables, we can set using these setter methods. Where to get the values, we can get using getter methods. So this is the object, user info object. This user info object travel through the JSPs and DAO and Java classes. So now I created one object, one bean class. So this act as a object. Now this object values has to insert into database. If these values has to insert into database, we need to load the driver and then need to into database. So for that, I need to create one more class as a DAO class. So for that, class. So it is not a bean, it's a DAO. So a class name is user DAO. So what it contains this user DAO class? This user DAO class will contain related things. So here we need to get the connection with Oracle database because we required to insert the data into this database, it's the Oracle database. So if we require to insert the data into this database, we need to get the connection to this database. So in order to get the connection to this database, we need to load the, so for that I will create a separate method that is method return type is int and the method name is method name. Later it has to return status. So now we need to load the driver and then need to get the connection and then need to uh, create the prepare statement and then has to execute the statement. So these all things already we have discussed in the JDB. So here available, this we will use this, we'll reuse this. Uh, so you already know what we are doing here. Here we are loading the driver or key driver, and then we are getting the connection. So for getting the connection, the driver manager dot get connection will return the connection object. Here you need to pass the URL, that is jdbc colon article colon thin colon at the rate of local host, and it is the port number, it is database name and username and password. And then here, after we get the connection object, the connection object will have a method that is prepared statement. So here we have a prepared statement. It will return the prepared statement object. So this prepared statement insert into EMP, not EMP. We are going to insert the values into users table. This is our table name. So yes, here you can copy. This is our table name, users table name. So how many parameters are in our table? We have three parameters. Need to insert the three values. One is for username, one is for email ID, and one is for password. One is for password. And then we need to set the values. We need to set the values for these position parameters. For setting the value, how we can set? We have a prepared statement object is dot set set string. Here index value, and then the index is first index. For the first index, we need to get the value from this user info object uname. From this user info object, in this object we have a name, email and password. So here this method, this user info object. So we have user info. This is the object. User info. U is the object reference. So using this, we can get here in user info class, we have a setter and getter methods. Now you can understand why these getter and setter methods. So here we have uname string get uname. Get uname, it will return the uname, whatever this uname or here. The uname, what will be the uname? Whatever we pass the uname here, this uname is in this variable, it holds this variable. This variable we are returning using this get username method. So here the object user info object is u. So here I use u dot is a object name. So if a class has multiple methods, how we can call those methods? Using the object reference. So the class user info class object reference is u. So u dot get uname. Get uname. So this method will return the u name, whatever the name there, it will return it. So similarly, for second position parameter, get string. Sorry, so you need to set the value string. So the index is 2 for second position parameter, and the value u, object name is u dot get email. The email value it will get for the second position parameter. For the second position parameter, email, this value will go here. For first uname will go here. And then the for third position parameter, set string. So the parameter is third position, and here it's u, object is u dot get password. Now we set these values for this prepared statement. And then now this prepare statement will have a method, that is execute update, which will execute this insert statement. So how it will insert these values? Insert into users values. For first position, this value u dot get name, it will return the whatever the name here we enter. Suppose if the name is Srini, here in this place it will go Srini. For the second position, the email ID. For the third position, it will go the password. In case if password is Virat, it will go the Virat. And then it will return, once if it execute, it will return how many records are inserted. So it will return the number. So the number I give it as status. It will return the status. So this status it will return later. Yeah. Okay, so now when we give the values for username, email and password, these values has to set for this user info, for this user info, and then this object we are passing to user DAO, passing it to the user DAO. So when this is happen, it will insert into this users table. So now we need our actual action, our action JSP. So our action JSP, we need to create the action JSP. So when you click on this register button, then it has to perform some action. So now we require action JSP. So for creating an action JSP, yes, you select the web content and then right click new JSP, JSP file. So for this JSP here, you give action, action JSP. So this is our action JSP. So it has to call this JSP. When you click on register, then what will action has to perform? This action JSP has to call. This action JSP has to call. So our actual code here, we will write our action, what it has to perform. We need to write our action. So this action JSP has to call this user DAO class. If this has to call, if this action JSP has to call this user DAO class, then our action JSP has to import this user DAO dot Java class. So for importing, we have a we have a tag that is at page at page tag. So we'll see tag JSP scriptlet. This is the JSP scriptlet tag. Right. In yesterday's session we have discussed the JSP scriptlet tag. So this tag will have a at page attribute at page, and then we'll have a import. So if we want to use any Java class in this JSP, then we need to import the Java class. So for importing here, we need to give the fully qualified name of this class. Fully qualified name is nothing but class name with package. Now I have imported a class. The class name is user DAO. The fully qualified name. You need to give the fully qualified name. Now this class is imported into this JSP, and then we need this we need to use this object because the values need to set for this object. If you want to set the value